Many composers think of Beethoven in their own special way. You could have Brahms, who thought of Beethoven as a great formal master, but then there's a whole set of 19th century programmatic composers, such as Berlioz, who thought of Beethoven as the beginning of the narrative symphonist. You have the Ninth Symphony, which brought in a chorus for the first time, and that brought in text and a kind of content. Suddenly you could be telling a story with the symphony that you couldn't before. So in a way, he's kind of like the great concept album artist of the 19th century. He told this bigger story, unified the movements in ways that had not been done before him. So I really love Beethoven for the way that he not only develops material on a micro level, but how he explodes the movement divisions and tells a greater story on the macro level. I write music for an expanded orchestra. It's true, sometimes I write completely acoustic symphonic works, but through my work as a DJ, I've become fascinated by the possibilities of electronic sounds as a kind of new section. So my symphonic works take a kind of programmatic approach of the 19th century symphonists, Berlioz, Liszt, Wagner, in the sense that they're telling big stories, but I do it with a palette that's more rooted in the digital age. What is a B-side? A B-side is the more offbeat tracks on the flip side of an old record. And in the hands of the psychedelic rockers like Pink Floyd, it was a whole canvas for trippy exploration. The B-sides lands in 5 surreal landscapes, each kind of imagining a kind of underbelly of the human imagination. The Broom of the System, the first movement, is about a little chimney sweep that kind of dusts the circuit boards of our lives. And that's conjured up by these kind of very high frequency electronica clicks, sort of like the ticking of a future clock, and actual brooms in the orchestra you'll hear. I really wanted to set a spacewalk to music. So I called NASA and left a message saying, if you have any archival recordings of the first American spacewalk, call me back. And they did. So I have these very ecstatic kind of conversations between Ed White and Houston that are set to this kind of ambient score. The final movement of the B-sides is called Warehouse Medicine, and it's an homage to Detroit warehouse parties. And so the sounds from the electronics are quite fittingly the sort of industrial analog sounds of early Detroit techno. The orchestra is the world's greatest synthesizer. You can still produce unbelievably new sounds with this consort of very old instruments. I do think that it is always going to continue to grow, and it always has. We had 19th century, valves in the brass section, or the 18th century expanded the strings. The 20th century had percussion instruments, hugely grow. I do think that the sounds of the digital age have a place in the orchestra. And this new section that I've been working with in a lot of my pieces provides a huge imaginative landscape. Some of it is very much informed by EDM, electronic dance music. Some of it is also very much informed by kind of psychedelic rock and the great ambient English artists. But more than anything, it's a kind of way to continue to grow the orchestral palette.